this lesson we will dive deeper into what goes on in your mind. In the last lesson you learned about the ABC model and how your thoughts lead to emotions and actions. In this lesson you will learn about awareness and perception. We have two kinds of perception. First, there's the external perception that allows us to see the world, hear what's going on around us, and enjoy the taste of delicious food, for example. And then there's the internal perception that allows us to become aware of mental processes such as thoughts, bodily processes like the feeling of thirst or hunger, and emotional processes like feeling happy or sad. In this course we focus on our mental processes because they are the keys for change. Today we will take a more detailed look at our modes of operation, which you must understand if you want to hunt down and catch those elusive automatic thoughts and stop running on autopilot. Doc Hume is very interested in this as well, so the next morning Kurt got up and walked down to the kitchen for some breakfast. The aliens seemed to have gotten used to human customs quickly, and were all sitting around the breakfast table looking at him. Kurt felt awkward. He didn't like the surprise experiment yesterday and expected that any moment something new might happen to him or his kitchen. But nothing happened. Doc Hume greeted him with a hearty good morning and proceeded to make his breakfast. After Kurt was done eating, he asked Doc Hume what was planned for today. Doc Hume replied, "Nothing special. Just take this little box with you to work and put it on your desk. Make sure you're at your desk at 12 o'clock. Kurt was a bit worried and nodded. He knew this was about saving the world, and in the big scheme of things his job didn't matter much, but really, he took the little metallic box and left for work. At work everything was as usual. He was late, everyone ignored him, and he already had several emails in his inbox he had to take care of right away. The morning hours passed and nothing special happened. Shortly before noon his boss Martin came in with an urgent new project and he needed some truly creative proposals within the next 4 hours. Kurt thought, great. Again no lunch break. Exactly at noon, the little metallic box started to tremble. Kurt had forgotten about it but now looked anxiously at it. What would happen? Suddenly the box opened and a small metal robot came marching out of the box. Kurt looked around nervously, but nobody was nearby, so at least whatever happened next wouldn't catch anyone's attention. The little robot kept marching towards Kurt. He had no expression, but something that resembled a long stick or spear in his hand. He didn't stop moving until he was right before Kurt. While Kurt was still trying to figure out what would happen next, the robot stuck the pike into Kurt's arm. Ouch! At first he didn't know what happened, but then he realized this little machine had just injected him with something and he almost started to freak out. The robot just turned around and marched to the side of his table and froze in place. Kurt's thoughts were racing. They smash my TV and inject whatever they want into me. All this for saving the world? What kind of mess had he got himself into? But his thoughts started to calm down. He slowly felt more relaxed, as if he were a spectator, just watching his thoughts pass by. He tried to focus on his computer screen, but it didn't work. He started to become aware of the background noise and he felt a slight cool breeze of the air conditioner brushing over his hands and arms. He realized he actually felt pretty good. Not like on a drug, but just very sensitive to what was going on around him, and was able to see his thoughts as something that was part of him, but not really him. That was awkward. He remembered he had to get this new proposal done. And suddenly many ideas just came up out of nowhere. They seemed to bubble up and some of them made sense. Others didn't, but he was not attached to them and just wrote them down. Whatever that little robot injected him, it must have been perfect for brainstorming ideas. After half an hour, the little robot started to move again, and oh my god, it came towards him again. Kurt was smarter this time and took his hands from the table. No, this little metallic monster would not inject anything into him this time. The little robot just stopped in front of him and did nothing. It turned its tiny head and looked at Kurt. Kurt came a bit closer, and just in that moment, it blew a little cloud of some gas towards Kurt. Kurt snapped his head back, but it was too late. He had already inhaled whatever the little robot sprayed towards him. The little robot just made a hollow metallic sound that resembled a laugh and marched back into the box it came from. Alright, great, Kurt thought. Now they gave me some drug to inhale. He shook his head and focused on his work again. He had to get this done on time. He looked at the ideas he had written down and picked some that made sense to him. He suddenly felt like his mind was razor sharp and he was able to concentrate on single ideas and take them further. He got so much into thinking about his ideas that he didn't realize that the air conditioner had stopped working. He lost all awareness of his surroundings. It felt like time was flying by and his proposal became more and more fleshed out. His boss will like it. Kurt managed to bring it back to Martin just an hour later, and indeed he liked it. Kurt was curious about the experiment the aliens had done on him, so he took the afternoon off and headed straight home to hear what Doc Hume had to say about this experiment. Doc Hume smiled and started to explain. Yesterday we proved the ABC model to be right, and today we wanted to learn more about your perception and way of thinking. That's why you sent me this little robot nurse to drug me, Kurt interrupted. Doc Hume just kept on smiling. Have a look at our research findings. Do you see this line here? That's your spectrum of perception. The injection you got from the little robot was something we call awaresonizer. It's a drug that helps you to broaden your awareness of what's going on in and around you. In this state, it is impossible to really work on something or to actively think. It is rather a state of observation. We can put this at the far left end of the spectrum of perception. Kurt asked, so what was the other state I entered after I inhaled this gas or whatever that was? Doc Hume laughed. That was nothing. The robot just burped in your face and laughed at you. Awaresonizer keeps your broad awareness for just half an hour. So after that you just started to work and concentrated on single ideas. You entered the state of concentration, which is pretty far to the right of the spectrum of perception. Contrary to this state of broad awareness, in the state of concentration, you focus your attention on something in particular, and as a result you become unaware of most other things. In this state, you can take one idea and connect it with others easily. These two states at the limits of the spectrum can also be labeled as states of being and doing. If you concentrate, you are in the doing state, and if you are in the state of broad awareness, you are in the being state. We only gave you awaresonizer because before we started this experiment, we found some indication that humans are not trained to be in this state of being. Many people seem to have problems with this state of being, even though it is a natural state anyone can be in. Doc Hume asked, how do you train the state of being in your society? Kurt answered, well, we don't. We learn to concentrate and think. Whenever I was in school and I was just in a state of broad awareness and my teachers caught me, they said I should stop dreaming. I never thought this state of mind would be useful. Doc Hume looked surprised. Oh, but it is. It's not really dreaming though. It's just distributing your attention to everything in and around you. It matters so much for our research because it actually helps you to become aware of your thoughts. In this state, you can observe your thoughts. It is the state in which you can get to know yourself better. Remember our experiment yesterday? If you become aware of your thoughts, you can actually control your emotions and reactions. No wonder so many people run on autopilot. Nobody is trained to be aware of their thoughts. Now that makes sense. Kurt, you have to understand that in a state of thinking, you actually connect different thoughts to each other and jump from one to another. This makes you more efficient, but at some point you might come to a dead end. That's why the state of having broad awareness is so beneficial for creative work. You're not attached to individual thoughts. You can observe all the thoughts that bubble up in your mind. Instead of going down one way, you consider many ways. That's why you are more creative in the state of being. In the state of thinking or doing, you're focused and more efficient when it comes to the typical work most humans do, but it also consumes more energy. That's also why some people who never stop thinking and can't switch over to the other mode just feel more stressed. If you remain in the state of being more often, you will be less productive, but you will be able to have a relaxed overview of what's going on in and around you. So both of these states of mind serve their own particular purpose. Just as Dr. Who finished, the door slammed open and a man dressed in black with guns stormed into the house. A window shattered and what seemed to be a gas grenade rolled across the kitchen floor. That was the last thing Kurt remembered. Suddenly he was dizzy and the world turned black. He felt something pierce his arm and heard Doc Hume say it would be fine or something before he faded from consciousness. Uh-oh, looks like trouble in Kurt's world. More on this in the next lesson, obviously. But now let's have a look at what you've learned in this story. Now you've learned about the two fundamental states of perception. But there is a bit more to the state of being than you might think. Before you learn how to enter the state of being and train your awareness in the practical lessons, I want to highlight the benefits of training the state of being. The biggest benefit is the ability to see your thoughts just as they are. Thoughts. Before you can change your thoughts, you have to get to know your thoughts and automatic thoughts. Training your state of being helps you exactly with that. You take a step back and get out of this river of thoughts and simply act as a spectator standing next to and observing your thoughts. What you will see is that some thoughts or patterns of thoughts come up over and over again. They might be desires, worries, or even superhero fantasies, yeah. Part of training your state of being is just learning to accept your thoughts and not be attached to them. Just see them and let them pass by. Hello thought, goodbye. After some time, your relationship to your thoughts, emotions, and all inner workings of your mind changes. You no longer identify yourself with your thoughts. And when you get to this point, you've experienced the impermanent nature of thoughts and feelings. They come and they go, no matter what you do. You can hold on to them and they will stay a bit longer, but in the end they fade away. Having experienced this makes you calmer, relaxed, and more balanced, because you now know how to let negative thoughts and feelings pass by instead of getting caught up in them. Observing your thoughts also helps you to spot automatic thoughts more easily. You train your inner awareness, so it will be easier to spot faulty thinking and negative thinking patterns that make you feel angry, frustrated, or in any other way miserable. Awareness training and the ABCDEF worksheet are some of the most powerful techniques modern psychology has to offer. In the next lesson, you will learn how you can change your thoughts and avoid a common problem that makes negative thoughts even worse.